Hello and welcome to Beacon Space, and this is Unrestricted Lore Affairs Lore Stream 17 coming at you live. Let's get started with today's broadcast. It's been a bit, but I'm sure we'll have a fantastic and wonderful show for you. Good evening and welcome to Beacon Space tonight. I'll be your anchor, Xavier, and I'm here broadcasting with my co-host, as always, Lupus Calbreck. How are you doing today, Cal?
Hello, Xavier. I am freezing. It is cold out here on planet BF, the newly explored world on the very edge of our known sector, all the way out in Sector Mark 1700, a previously failed colony world which is nevertheless, as discovered by a Starlit Court exploratory strike fleet, a strategic point for a vital resource.
And how did you get all of the way out there?
Well, truth be told, I'm not. I'm here in the studio with you, Xavier. You can see me right next to you. It was a green screen and CGI. How could you think that I got all the way out here when I clearly did...
Lupus, it's in the script. Just look at the teleprompter. I know we got it newly installed, but just, could you follow it? Lupus?
Oh. I put on my snowshoes and slippery slid all the way down to BF Town.
Ha 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 ha. Of course you did. And now, on to our top stories for this month. The Children of the Vein have probably another award-winning audio presentation for us.
Of course they do. How's a guy to catch a break? Tahora Y returns with another thrilling installment to their ongoing fight at the edge of our sector. Of course, with time dilation, it's already over, but for us, this is fresh and hot.
Just like Traeger's famous pastry selection, the Ogumala Syndicate has made a hunting log public, and we'll be reviewing it live later in this broadcast.
Ascent is approaching the time of their yearly race to determine who shall be the leader of their government. This unorthodox practice draws in a huge amount of tourists to their homeworld of Icaros, and we'll be giving you all the news in our Ascension Race to Ascend update.
But for now, let's take a moment to thank our sponsor for today's episode, MOSFET. MOSFET, designer jeans and parts, announced its grand opening this cycle, with a chain of new clinics opening in urban centers across the planet. MOSFET is the brainchild of Vein athlete and celebrity Howling Star, who rose to fame as a gladiator and social media darling, advocating for biomodification and organic positivity. As a lover of Mosi culture, looking to branch out her media empire and plant new roots, Howling Star found eager investors among the Combine, and now her dream has borne fruit. MOSFET is happy to offer the people of Moss a new venture for organic biomodification services and advanced biocosmetics, ranging from genetic enhancements to cosmetic alterations and everything in between. Come in for a Witch Miss Holiday consultation for 10% off your first limb. MOSFET, designer jeans and parts. Find your best fit, only on Moss. As always, we here at Beacon Space thank all of our sponsors, including MOSFET and the New Eden Gene Bank. And welcome to Unrestricted Lorefair. As always, I'm Lichmaster98, or Xavier Stortes, as several of you may know me, along with my co-host, Lupus, and welcome to the Lore Stream. It's been a little bit of time since we've done one of these, hasn't it now, Lupus?
It has been a while, but we are back here broadcasting to you, ready to bring you the hottest and freshest submissions from our factions.
It's quite exciting. We had a great month, and I hope, as always, everyone had a wonderful holiday over the winter holidays, and getting back into the swing of things on the new year hasn't been all too difficult. We had a faction turn not too long ago, and now we've got the lore stream to bring you an update on everything that's happened. Speaking of which, should we launch right on in with Children of the Veins update with their news report of Strength and Sorrow?
Indeed, the news report of Strength and Sorrow, which, as was mentioned in our header, is more than likely going to be another award-winning presentation that will continue to steamroll us in the ratings.
Well, let's take a listen in to Traeger's reporting.
This report has been made possible by the New Eden Gene Bank. Be a better you. Visit your local branch for a consultation. Hello, Beacon Space. This is Trey Grin, filling in for Chaz, who is currently incapable of speech, here with the latest from around the sector. In the news this cycle, we have big money, new ships, clinics, and loss. For our first story this cycle, a summary of the New Eden Gene Bank's annual shareholders meeting. This year's meeting was held by the logos of the Vein of Paradise herself, Seed Abbott Golden Particular, who appeared resplendent in her finest professional attire. Addressing shareholders, Golden Particular summarized recent and continuing efforts to expand their business and influence across the sector, with medical financing and the recent funding of Icarus Speed, and described the strengthening of both public interests on Telos and the interests of the children of the Vein as a whole. For the next standard fiscal year, the New Eden Gene Bank plans on consolidating their gains to secure their economic foothold and growing returns for shareholders. Closing off the shareholders meeting was the unveiling of a New Eden-funded subsidiary clinic, Heliiusus, which opened on Yaika, in cooperation with the Cardiac Advancement Foundation and the Concord of Mutual Disdain. This small clinic will be focused on vocalization organ enhancements for the local population to improve cross-species communication. We had a special report from Chaz Gusto Prime in the field coming regarding the native language, but unfortunately, their investigation rendered them incapable of speech. Seculaziolo Boston Germantide Yapple of the Concord of Mutual Disdain released the following statement. Just as the clinic on Cardiac was a step to integration between the Concord and the wider sector, the clinic on Yaika is a step to integration between Yaika and the wider Concord. I think we all can agree a more united sector will benefit us all. I, for one, am excited to see the impact on the wider art sector, as we've heard great things about the Yaika art scene and culture. We return to Telos for our next story, as a new fleet of Tehara ships began maneuvers in the center system this cycle. These vessels were reportedly impounded during Fai customs enforcement operations. When the customs fines could not be paid, these ships were sold to a yet-to-be-named Fai whaling concern and retrofitted for their use. And now, an interview with a local whale worshipper's opinion on the new flying plankton excuse me. This is from who? She's doing this now. We apologize, listeners. It looks like we have a breaking story from the newly established Sanguine Corporation from the Vein of Glorious Delights. They're announcing their acquisition of Ingly Media. Is this correct? It would seem that one of the largest and oldest media corporations in the sector has just been bought out. Isn't that something? We'll be following more on this story as it develops into next cycle. For our last report, the death of Tavu Turbo Telaquio. Turbo was an icon of the Telos musical scene, known for their techno-folk rock and pop-funk fusions, with such hit singles and chart toppers like The Cactus Funk, and a personal favorite, Near Verona. Their career has inspired generations of new musicians and single-handedly revitalized music on Telos. Turbo's Beacon Cast is what inspired Chaz to start this very show. Please join us after the broadcast in a tribute to Turbo's legacy. And that concludes our second report for this cycle. This has been Trey Grin, flipping out.
As always, we thank Trey Grin and Chaz Gusto Prime for their wonderful reporting, and it's disappointing to hear about Ingly Media. We always enjoyed reading their updated reports, and we hope that their news division will be unaffected by the recent acquisition.
Indeed, but it is a fascinating quote from Secilio Boston Germantide Yapple, who has been in the news quite often recently due to the ongoing political career being on the up and up. And it is quite fascinating to see Children of the Vein and the and the Concord of Mutual Disdain working so closely together to improve cross-species communication. This is, of course, a fantastic cause, and we here at BBTV support New Eden Gene Bank and this new subsidiary clinic with our full support. And we remind you at this time that we are politically neutral.
Of course, and as always, be sure to stay tuned after this broadcast for that tribute to the musician Turbo. They will be sorely missed. With all of that out of the way, we get to move on to the next report in our news show this evening, coming to you all the way from Aguamala Syndicate's space, where we have a updated hunting report, it seems, to cover for you today. Let's take a look at it now. And so, looks like this is a hunter's log for, looks to be day 12 of whatever this hunt must have been. This says, from the author's perspective. Today, we caught our first glimpse of the creature we pursue, the first sight of the legend that called us to the hunt. It was hardly more than a shadow, a momentary blip across our sensors, but large enough that it could be nothing else. Its hulking size matching no other creature that roamed this region. The white whale, as the hunters have come to call the beast, had been rumored to be lurking in this region, but to see evidence of it was further confirmation that our hunt was not in vain. Though the lookouts kept keen watch for further sightings of the creature, our efforts were met with little success. It seems the creature is wary of our ships, or at least clever enough to evade their detection, able to hide from our ship's scans. Perhaps it is because of our sudden arrival into this region that we even caught an initial glimpse of the creature. Its elusive nature only serves to reinforce the drive behind our hunt. Truly, this creature must be a worthy adversary, perhaps even one of the Entomido themselves, to elude us. We shall trek on, writing tales of our voyage to become legends when we bring our quarry to rest. As always, this hunter's log was brought to you by the Aguamala Syndicate, and we thank them for their contribution and report.
For such insular culture, not in lack of reaching out, but lack of comprehensibility due to the deeply ingrained rituals and some such that it's difficult for outsiders to understand. It's always fascinating to get this internal insight into the Aguamala Syndicate acts and practices, and I want to appreciate the Aguamala Syndicate's work in making this public for us so we can understand more the nature of the Shadowy Syndicate.
I, as always, agree with your intrepid insights into this topic, and again, just want to thank the Aguamala Syndicate for their contribution one more time. Next up, though, I think you've got a continuing story from the Tahora Fai space, this tale that has already finished, but we're only getting momentary glimpses in it due to transmission delays and such.
Indeed, I have the latest segment of our serialized description of the ongoing journey of the Ranzo. And I am proud to announce that this will all be going into our new section called What is the Why?, which is exploring Tahora Y acts and practices very similar to the presentation on the Aguamala Syndicate that we had not too long ago that went into the ritualistic and tribal nature of their culture. In particular, we have a scientist who has been living amongst the Tahora Phi for the last several months and has been doing a detailed study of the tattoos, the ritualistic tattoos which they wear, and their various meanings. And we remind our viewers at this time to not go and get a Tahora Phi tattoo of your own because it is deeply culturally offensive if you are not a member of the Tahora Phi. So, continuing with our update, this is from the crew of the Ranzo, and it reads: Beamish and the crew of the Ranzo managed to shut down the automated defenses in the hangar with their ship. With the battle in a momentary lull, it's time to regroup and study the station. The Ranzo's data specialist, Enitian, discovers a rudimentary map of the facility pointing to 4 main chambers: research and destruction, infusion and alterations, meditation and mediation, and power and security. A section of the map is, however, unable to be read by any member of the crew, and those partial to the bleed find themselves with a headache if they try to focus too hard on the map. With the downtime, the crew has a chance to prepare for their next strike to secure the facility and the secrets hidden within. How will the crew prepare for their next encounter? Only time will tell. And as a reminder, of course, these future events have already happened, but we will only be able to broadcast them to you as the progress of slow message speeds allows.
We'll endeavor to see the next update in this thrilling story. Hopefully, Beamish and crew are able to come to a measure of success for this station rather than an unfortunate demise. I think we thank the Tahorafai for their contribution to this lore stream, and everybody else who has contributed as well.
Indeed, we thank you to all of our factions who have provided for us content. And speaking of providing content, our regularly scheduled lore jams are continuing. So far this month, we have looked at scientists, cryptozoology, farming, and next up tomorrow is influencers. We will be, it's at 7 p.m. UTC, or your local time zone equivalent, as we will be getting together members of the community to write about the world of online influencers in Beacon Space. Flamboyant personalities, drama, experts at reacting to other people's content, pro gamers, come and create an online celebrity that is well known in Beacon Space. And that's again tomorrow, 7 p.m. UTC in the Sci-Fi Voice channel. There'll be an event that pops up. You're more than welcome to come along. Our Lost Lore Jam Farming. The thread is still open, and you can go and read 2 of the excerpts that were posted there in text. One for the Concord and Mutual Disdain, and one for the Aguamala Syndicate. If you're at all curious how those factions do some of their farming practices.
It's always an interesting read to see what members of the community come up with for all of these different Lore Jam topics, and hopefully with any luck I'll be able to return to making those this week, and that'll be quite exciting, and I'd love to see you there.
Yep, indeed. I'm looking forward to it. Other thing to note, free agent games still going strong. The scheduling should be available for anybody who would like to play. Next week, we are playing on Friday the 18th of February and Sunday night or Monday morning if you're in Europe. A very late game from our perspective, but anybody who would like to play, feel free to get in touch with me, fill out the form in announcements, or click on the reaction to sign up to play in a free agent sessions, which is our 1 part Shadowrun, 1 part Blades in the Dark, organized crime RPG. Yeah.
They're always exciting sessions and quite interesting way to explore the world of Beacon Space from a different perspective than we get to do here on the lore streams or even with the faction turn itself. Taking a look from the perspective of individuals in the world rather than from this high-level viewing of factions is always a fun way to explore and see what new things get developed. I believe we're current sessions are still exploring Salado, is that correct?
Yep, we are coming to the close of the Salado arc, but it has been fun, and the next few sessions will be tying up some loose ends, but you don't need to know any of the previous story in order to participate in a free agent session. They are all self-contained one-shots, as well as being part of a larger story in the West Marches style. The region of Salado is a troubled region run by warlords on the Aguamala Syndicate homeworld of Nueva Cuetmoc, and the agents have been meddling with the politics in the region, deciding which of the warlords they want to come out on top across various events and conflicts in the region. And soon we will be leaving Salado, and we will be heading towards the Sector West, where some interesting developments are happening with the Reach-Rangi Agreement as we continue to explore different parts of the sector through the lens of our organized crime RPG.
I can't wait to see where the story continues to take itself and where we end up next.
Thank you very much. It's always a good time, and yeah, it's been going very well.
That's exciting to hear. Well, I think that takes us to the end of this new show, the winter holidays and getting back into things, and myself having relocated and moved in the past month means this show's a little bit shorter than our normal lore streams, but that's alright. Still wanted to get out all of the cool lore that's been generated from all of the factions and get a chance to talk about it. But coming up next, we do have the next faction turn. So faction turn 17 taking place 2 weeks from today on February 26th at about 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Turn lock and trade lock are the standard times beforehand. If you're interested in knowing more, talk with your faction rep. I'm sure they will be able to give in those details if you're not sure what those are that I'm talking about. And if you don't know who a faction rep is, you can join our Discord to participate in the faction turn portion of the game. We'd love to have anybody new come on in and try out. You can participate, help create some lore for the factions like we've been talking about today, or even influence the decisions and actions those factions take in the mechanical game of the faction turn, which we'll process in 2 weeks. But I think that's about it for today. Anything else, Lupus?
Indeed. The only thing that I have left to say is that as this will be the final lore stream before Valentine's Day, happy Valentine's Day. If you are doing something for it, hope you have fun, and if you're not, I hope that it isn't too lonely. Get together with a friend, spend some time with people that you like, and yeah, everybody have a good time over this festive season.
Absolutely, but thank you all for spending 20 minutes on your Saturday or whenever you're catching this VOD on YouTube. We'll leave you with some fun tunes and music as we fade on out here. But I've been Xavier Stordes for BBTV Beacon Space Tonight, and this has been my co-host,
Lupus Calbrecht.
Thanks for watching.